What if all this talk about aliens finally arriving was missing the point? Maybe they didn't come with a big show. Maybe they came with patience. Not warships, not laser beams, but subtlety, observation, quiet infiltration. A species advanced enough to cross vast interstellar distances might not crash in a blaze of glory. They might slip in, merge, adapt. Not with fire and brimstone, but with a smile. Here are 22 real, chilling, documented reasons, yes, documented, why aliens may already be here, walking among us, hidden in plain sight. Tic Tac UAP, the USS Nimitz encounter. Probably the most famous modern case. In 2004, U.S. Navy pilots flying off the aircraft carrier USS Nimitz detected and then visualized a tic-tac-shaped craft that defied every rule of physics. Radar operators from the USS Princeton reported anomalous aerial vehicles, AAVs, that week, locked in at altitudes and speeds that left seasoned military observers baffled. One pilot, Commander David Fravor, chased the object. It hovered, changed direction impossibly, then shot away in a way no known aircraft could replicate. Here's the kicker. These aren't just rumors. The U.S. Office of Naval Intelligence, or ONI, confirmed that several internal documents and at least one video from the incident remain classified, labeled secret or top secret. Why would they hide it? Because what they saw wasn't anything human-made. If that's true, someone else is here, with technology far beyond ours. The Rendlesham Forest Incident. Go across the Atlantic to Suffolk, England, December 1980. U.S. Air Force personnel stationed at RAF Bentwaters Bridgewood report weird lights in the nearby Rendlesham Forest. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt, a senior officer, personally led a patrol into the woods. What they saw? Strange glowing lights, a small metallic craft, and a forest illuminated in a way no aircraft should. Halt later filed a memo, the famous Halt memo, describing a possible UFO landing site. He's admitted publicly he's not sure what it was, but he genuinely believed something extraordinary happened. Local animals reportedly freaked out. Witnesses heard strange sounds, saw the lights move through trees. To this day, no definitive aircraft design matches the descriptions. If military brass saw something they can't explain, it's not just a funny story. It's potential proof that something else is here, and they're not always flying high. Directed panspermia, or genetic engineering, DNA that doesn't seem fully us. Scientists have long debated panspermia, the idea that life on Earth may have been seeded from elsewhere. But some go further. Directed panspermia, meaning a civilization intentionally planted life here. Nobel Prize winner Francis Crick even proposed something like this in the 1970s. Now, modern geneticists study stretches of junk DNA, sequences that don't code for any obvious function. Some wonder, what if these are not junk at all, but embedded signatures? If that's true, if parts of our genome were engineered or written into, then humanity might carry within us the mark of an alien intelligence. Not just visitors, legacy. The Hill abduction, Betty and Barney Hill. One of the most famous abduction stories in UFO lore, and also one of the most carefully documented. On the night of September 19th or 20th, 1961, Betty and Barney Hill, driving through New Hampshire, claimed they saw a strange light in the sky. They followed it, stopped, and Barney looked through binoculars and saw humanoid figures in windows. What makes the case disturbing, under hypnosis, they recalled being taken aboard a craft, medically examined, having samples taken, hair, nails, skin, and then returned, but with a gap of about 2 hours missing from their memory. Plus, when they came home, Betty's dress was torn, Barney's shoes were scuffed, their car showed magnetic anomalies when measured later. Under hypnosis, Betty even drew a star map, and some researchers later matched her map to the Zeta Reticuli star system. This wasn't a campfire tale. It was serious, documented, deeply bizarre, and it changed how people talk about alien contact forever. Radar ghost blips matching abduction claims. Some researchers argue that radar stations picked up unknown objects on the same night as the Hill abduction. According to UFO investigators, radar logs from nearby stations reported unexplained returns around the same time and location as the Hill's missing 2 hours. If you combine visual report plus missing time plus radar confirmation, you've got a case that's hard to wave off as just imagination. It's the kind of alignment that makes you lean forward and say, maybe they saw something real. Underwater anomalies. UAPs aren't just in the sky. One of the more unsettling frontiers, the oceans. Deep ocean is dark, cold, and mostly unexplored. Scientists admit we don't understand 80+% of our own planet's seas. Now imagine if an advanced species used this terrain as a base. There are documented aerospace undersea phenomena, UAP, objects that shift between water and air, that behave erratically, that accelerate in ways submarines don't. If aliens wanted to hide, the ocean is the perfect cover. Remote, shielded from civilian radar, and huge enough to host unknown technology. It's not just a sci-fi idea, it's emerging in peer-reviewed scientific discussion. Psychological influence. Ideas as weapons. Abductee reports often include more than just physical exams. People talk about visions, mental downloads, warnings of future catastrophes. They speak of orbs, voices, synchronized thoughts. Some psychologists who study these cases suggest that certain abductees are describing not just aliens of flesh and blood, but entities that influence consciousness itself. What if the goal isn't to physically dominate us, but to steer us from within? If a species has mastered consciousness, why build a spaceship when you can nudge the world from the inside? Cosmic archaeology, ancient cultures, and sky beings. Across ancient civilizations, Sumerians, Mayans, Egyptians, Dogon, there are myths and records of sky beings who taught, watched, and influenced. The Sumerian Anunnaki are described as deities who descended from the heavens. Many indigenous traditions talk about star people with advanced knowledge. In some texts, these beings intermarried with humans, or at least interacted in deeply impactful ways. Some anthropologists see this as metaphor or myth, but others argue that similar descriptions across cultures, separated by continents and time, point to an uncanny pattern, not merely storytelling, but possible memory of a real presence. If these beings were here in ancient times, perhaps they never left. Maybe they just changed how they present themselves. Men in Black encounters, but not the movie. Forget the Will Smith suits. In many UFO cases, witnesses report men in black who show up after sightings or abductions. These are not always slick government agents. Sometimes they seem off, unnervingly calm, emotionless, too smooth. In some stories, these figures demand silence. They discourage reporting. Some allegedly threaten people, others just show up unannounced, study them, then vanish. If someone is covering up a presence, these men in black could be more than folklore, an organized operation to suppress knowledge. Gimbal advanced maneuvers. UFOs that break the rules. We talked about the Nimitz Tic Tac, but there's another famous UAP, Gimbal, for instance, in January 2015. Pilots captured infrared footage of a craft that rotated mid-air, reversed direction quickly, and didn't show typical signs of propulsion. According to a reconstruction of its flight path, it decelerated rapidly in ways that seem impossible for known aircraft. No wings, no engine glow, no conventional exhaust. If the physics fail, the only reasonable conclusion might be intelligence behind it. Not just a "what is that," but a "who is that?" Credible military testimony. It's one thing for civilians to report UFOs. It's a whole other level when military personnel trained to identify aircraft report craft that defy explanation. Pilots, radar operators, base commanders, people whose job is to know what's in the sky have repeatedly observed objects that defy explanation. When they say, "I don't know what that was," they don't always mean, "I saw a bird." They mean something weird is going on. Time distortions and missing time across cultures. Abduction cases frequently involve time loss, whole periods that the person simply can't account for, even though they feel the events were real. Across multiple accounts, we blinked and it was hours later. Our watches stopped. I woke up somewhere I didn't expect. Whether via hypnosis, regressive therapy, or spontaneous recall, these memories resurface, often with physical symptoms. Something is causing time not just to bend, but to skip. Physical aftereffects and traces. Many people who report encounters don't just walk away with stories, they carry physical changes. Scars, marks, or implants found on their body, scratches or residue on clothing, magnetic anomalies, or damage around the area of contact. These aren't just, "I had a dream." These are patterns you can examine, measure, and sometimes replicate, the kind of evidence that raises real questions. Global consistency. Same stories everywhere. Consider how many reports come from far-flung places: South America, Europe, Asia, Africa. Different languages, different cultures, same key themes. Aliens from the sky, craft that defies conventional aircraft, exam rooms on extraterrestrial vehicles, telepathic communication or shared visions. These echoes suggest something global, not just local myth. If aliens are here, they may have spread their presence across continents, influencing humanity in many places, but in similar ways. Secrecy, cover-ups, and official silence. The Pentagon's UAP reports, declassified videos, and internal memos suggest the topic isn't a joke anymore. But here's the catch. Even with acknowledgement, we rarely get full disclosure. In the Nimitz case, ONI admitted to classified videos. In Rendlesham's case, military officials documented lights, but the Ministry of Defense investigation was cursory. That pattern of "we saw something" plus "we won't tell you everything" is repeated too often to be negligence. If someone is hiding a presence, they don't just deny. They discredit. They distract. They bury. Long-term integration. Aliens built in, not tacked on. What if the plan wasn't just a quick trip, but permanent settlement? Aliens could be integrating into human society through genetic programs, hybridization, or even direct social infiltration. There are documented cases in abduction lore of hybrid children, beings that look human but claim non-human ancestry. Combine that with DNA anomalies, and the theory becomes aliens aren't visitors. They could be our ancestors and our descendants. Integration is the ultimate strategy. You don't conquer, you evolve together. Observing, not conquering. The zoo hypothesis revisited. Remember the zoo hypothesis? Alien civilizations may view Earth as a sort of cosmic reserve. Observe, but don't interfere. That explains a lot of modern sightings. Orbs over cities, quiet craft in remote areas, agents that discourage disclosure, mental influence instead of war. Maybe they don't see us as threats. Maybe they see us as interesting animals, something to study over centuries, not to annihilate. Ancient astronomers, teaching from the stars. Countless ancient cultures referred to beings from the sky, not gods, but visitors. Some legends are accompanied by advanced astronomical knowledge, star maps, and mythic sky teachers who handed down wisdom about the stars, agriculture, and measuring time. What if those stories weren't myth, but memory? Aliens, once more open in ancient times, may have influenced key moments in human civilization, then gradually shifted to a more subtle presence. If that's true, we're not rewriting mythology, we're reinterpreting history. Whistleblowers, people risking everything to talk. In recent years, more former officials and insiders are stepping forward, not just conspiracy theorists, pilots, intelligence officers, and defense contractors. Some claim direct contact or recovery of non-human material. Others hint at secret programs. These are not wild-eyed drifters. Many are trained professionals with security clearance. When people like that speak about things they saw, studied, or handled, it demands attention. Maybe the truth isn't out there in the sky. Maybe the truth is right here, whispered in back rooms. The science is catching up. This isn't just folklore anymore. Scientists are seriously studying UAPs. There are peer-reviewed papers on aerospace undersea phenomena. We now have frameworks that treat UFO reports as data points, not sci-fi junk. If you look at the patterns, radar blips, pilot reports, physical anomalies, they start forming a coherent puzzle. And if there's a puzzle, someone smart enough almost certainly solved parts of it long ago. They might be here and we'd never notice. This is the scariest and most plausible reason of all. We might not recognize them even if we saw them. If someone came here with the ability to mimic human behavior, to adapt biologically, to integrate culturally, they could walk among us. Your neighbor, coworker, classmate, someone totally unremarkable, could be an alien entity. Why yell about it when you can just live quietly, watching, influencing, waiting? Aliens don't need war. They just need time. And humanity gives that in spades. Sudden technological leaps in human history. Look at the 20th century. Before, humans invented wheels, plows, written language, gradually. Then, out of nowhere, microchips, lasers, stealth aircraft, space travel, fiber optics. Some researchers suggest these are not purely human breakthroughs, but are possibly influenced by an external intelligence. The timing, the rapid escalation. It's the kind of leap that could come from reverse engineering recovered technology. If someone is handing us the playbook, we might not even realize we're playing on their field. Why this matters? All of these reasons aren't just wild stories. They're documented cases, military sightings, scientific inquiries, personal testimonies. They build a picture not of invasion, but infiltration. Not of conquest, but coexistence. If aliens are already here, what does that mean for human history? For ethics? For our sense of identity? The implications are huge. The mystery isn't if they exist, it's why they're here, how long, and what happens next. So here's the question for you. Which of these 22 reasons hits you the hardest? The radar logs, the abduction stories, the deep ocean theories, or just the idea that someone is hiding in plain sight? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you liked this deep dive into the alien question, hit subscribe so you don't miss part 2, where we'll look at secret programs, leaked labs, and whistleblowers who claim they actually met non-humans face to face. If you're still watching this, you're the kind of person who's not satisfied with just another alien video. You want to dig, to question, to understand. And maybe you want to be ready, because if they're already here, the next step could change everything. Thanks for staying curious. I'll see you in the next one.